Conversation Room. We have so many different topics that we got in this week, a lot of different events or issues that we want to discuss amongst ourselves that hopefully help give you some insight and help release frustrations in your life. We had a couple of things that came in on parenting, one about parenting views. Another aspect of parenting is a co-parenting event that came in. We're also going to talk about loyalty tonight, and we're also going to have a discussion surrounding balancing your life as a mother and a father with kids and ensuring that your stress levels are as low as they can possibly be. So lots of different things to discuss, and we're very excited that you're going to be here listening to us discuss these topics. So with that being stated,
I'll take the first vent, lady.
oh,
We
go
got
ahead,
it.
Tim.
Go ahead.
Come on,
Sam's
Tim.
got the first bid. Let's go.
So I'll put the first vent on the table. This is from a young man, and he says, we are becoming of the age where some of us are seeing that our roles as a matriarch is being defined. It can be a fine balance for those individuals when you take on the issues of your household and families along with your own inner balance. I would love to hear you all speak on mental health as well as how physical health ties into that as well. I think this is a topic not frequently addressed in our community in the past. But presently, we see that we are focused more on it. I'm curious to see some of the changes some of us have made to address these issues. For example, diet, yoga, exercise, and hobbies. I'm at the point where I manage things I like or enjoy. We often say manage stress, but I try to manage my life so that I don't have stress. And I appreciate this event. This event is really dear to my heart. I'll start off by just talking about balance a little bit. Balance is extremely important. It is something that we say. I don't know if we purposely do. And the scope of balance is a little different from what we expect. So we'll say, hey, I balance my home life and my work life very well. But there's a third piece that I think we forget, especially in the Black community, is the work, the family, but also you. And so you is very important. That percentage also needs to just go to you, your alone time, something that you love to do, not just for distraction, but also for peace. And so I used to struggle with that. I think 4 years ago, I thought that I had a really good balance. I had great family time and great work time, but I was still really exhausted. Really felt like I was stretching myself thin. I didn't take care of Tamara until I figured out that there was a piece missing still. And so with my balance, I remembered that not only do I want to do well in education and be effective with my family, but I also want to make sure that Tamara has enough time to actually do what she needs to do to make sure that she's effective for everyone else. So if I take care of me first, then I know that I can be the best mother. I can be a better wife. I know I can be a great educator. And so we need to really purposely do that, not just say it, but purposely do that. So I know that this venter was talking about yoga and diet, things of that nature, exercise, and those are all great. If those things bring you peace, then I say you adopt those and purposely try to implement those in your life on a daily basis. What do you guys think?
I agree completely with you. A couple of things that stood out to me with the event that was presented was first when he was talking about the patriarch role. And as you indicated, that a lot of times when you're a mother or a father, that is the first thing that you focus on within your life. Mm-hmm. And you take a step back from what it is that you as an individual, before you became that father, before you became that mother, like to do and what you enjoy. Because now you're focusing so much on family that you're not focusing on you. And as you stated, Tam, which was absolutely perfect statement, was that if you don't take care of you first, how are you going to be able to take care of others? Right. And so you have to be able to find that balance. You have to be able to strike a balance in your life where you are focused on self-care, and then you project that out to others so that you can care for them just as well as you care for yourself. Another thing that I really liked is that he brought up our community. Yes. And although it's very important, like as we go forward and we talk about events and we want to be inclusive with everyone, we still have to understand that in our community, and when I say in our community as Black individuals, sometimes we have a different struggle, and we sometimes look at things in a different light as it relates to other communities, because we have certain pressures on us that we have to be able to ensure that we are taking care of all, not only our intermediate family, but even our extraneous family as well. And so we can have a lot more pressures because of just being in the Black community than some other fashions may be able to have experience.
Absolutely.
So I think that when we're talking about, and then the mental health piece, when we're talking about our community, it's not something that we don't discuss that readily. We don't discuss how mental health impacts us as Black people and how that can impact our family life. So everything you stated, I completely agree with, and I hope that this discussion really helps the venter understand that, you're right. Manage your life so that you don't have stress. That makes a lot of sense.
Love it.
And I can agree too, because you does start with you. You have to take care of you in order to be able to do parenting, job, anything in life. You have to make sure that you are good. So you always have to take a step back. I think that work is typical, that 9 to 5. Parenting is 24/7, 365 days a year. And being you is 24/7, 365 days a year. And they always assume in the Black community that we always have it together. You'll never see us waver. We're always the same. Good morning, how are you? Before we leave and when we get home, we're always the same. Whether we take care of us or not, we're always taking care of our family first before we take care of ourselves or anything else. So I can't agree with yoga, fitness, getting in touch with yourself. Having that you time is much needed,
Right.
so that you can be successful in those other areas, and making sure that the house is still being running successfully, the kids are being successfully taught and raised, and it does still start with you. So you always want to make sure that you look out for you, most definitely, in all those cases.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
I knew that you were going to be about the working out.
CrossFit.
Here,
I agree
so
with that.
We're not promoting CrossFit. We're not promoting.
Yeah.
No
But,
paper on the
for
line.
those of us that don't exercise very often, I mean, you can journal, you can, color, sit on a deck. It's not much. There's no cookie cutter strategy or thing that you should do to bring you peace.
right.
Whatever that looks like, go ahead and implement it.
Exactly.
And it's not distraction, because we have some things that distract us, but you also need some things that actually will give you the peace that you may be missing.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And it can look like anything.
and it can look like anything as long as it's healthy.
It could be a simple drive.
As long as it's healthy.
A walk.
Yeah.
Right.
Which my
Yeah.
husband tries to get me to walk with him all the time.
I even just sitting in the car. I used to do it a lot.
Yeah, sit in the
Pull up and
car.
before I actually get into the house, I would sit in the car, gather my thoughts, like, okay, now the real world starts right now.
Yeah.
That was work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave that there. Now I got to go in and be mom,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because now it's a different hat that I have to put
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So that's how I always give myself that little bit of time before I go in the house,
Yes.
before I travel all that other stuff inside. I'm like, okay, look, work is work. Now you're home.
Yeah.
Right. Good.
Got to get you together.
I like that. It's like transition.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
That's
need
exactly
that.
what you have to do.
And I do it all the time. I'm sorry, but I will pull up in the garage and be like, okay,
Yeah.
assess everything going around. Work is work. Put that hat on. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Because they expect that. They don't want to hear nothing about the job when you walk in.
That's
It's
all right.
about me. What can you give me right now?
I love that, Dorsey.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like, in reference to the energy portion, during this COVID situation, it seems like there's no in between. It's either you're extremely happy or, just okay with it, or you're stressed, you're going through an emotional breakdown, but it's no in between because it's something that's so new and it's something that's just so dysfunctional because there's no functionality in this situation whatsoever. So with that being said, sometimes sometimes it takes a little bit of dysfunctionality in your energy in order for you to be placed in a place where you need to be. Because sometimes we get comfortable and we say all the time, guard your energy. Sometimes you have to let your guard down with your energy. Spice it up a little bit, because you guarding your energy right here is probably not where you're meant to be. Sometimes you have to spice it up just a little bit in order for you to be where you're supposed to be. So if you're dealing with that depression, if you're dealing with that uncertainty, or if you're dealing with that your mind is boggled, you don't know what to do, understand that at this time, it's okay for your energy to be distorted, because what you're going to do after this is where you need to be. So you're nowhere but where you're supposed to be, because you're trying to get to where you need to be. So just understand that no matter what the stress level is right now, it's necessary. It's necessary because we all get complacent.
Yeah.
Like if you did not have something that pushed you, something that ate you or ate you up inside, you would be okay with where you are. So that's all I have to say. Next. Next. Who's next?
All right, so I have a bit as well.
Okay.
Co-parenting.
Oh, a lot of parenting stuff.
Yes.
Oh.
Two parents are attempting to co-parent, but have struggled 99% of the time. The two individuals did not plan on having a child together, nor are they interested in getting back together. What are the essentials when trying to form a healthy co-parenting agreement? Are there specific things that need to be eliminated to make it more effective? So I will start by saying it does take a village to raise a kid. New school and old school co-parenting. I'm from the old school, where it's when you're co-parenting, both parents primarily think the same. We want what's best for the child. It's not one raising of one style, one raising of another style. We're both on the same page. Schooling, education, nurturing, the best, church, everything fall up in the same guidelines. We're just not able to be together in a situation to raise this child. We're doing it separately, but we both want the same things what's best for the child. New age parenting is a drop-off, a get out of jail free card for the weekend. Really not concerned of what the child is being taught, who the child is being around, what's going on. It just knows it's Friday, it's 6 o'clock, it's your time to pick him up, and you bring him back on Sunday, boom, bada bang. It's so bad because it's never about the child anymore. It's about what your mama did this weekend with you, or what your daddy did this weekend with you.
Right.
They have you around this person.
Right.
They have you around that person. It's like a question thing before. Thank you, you brought the kid back. The kid might have had a bag with them. The parents might have brought something. Now it's the kids come back with nothing. The kids are now just primarily coming in and, oh, I was left at so-and-so with so-and-so, and never, the parents are never on the same page like before. So I'm a firm believer of it does take a village to raise a kid, and if we can get back to that, these kids will be way more structured than what they are today, and knowing what their role is to be a man in the house, to be a woman in the house, not to be the opposite as far as running the streets and relying on other people to raise your kids as opposed to your own parents installing that into you.
I'm going to look at it from a different perspective, Dorsey, respecting your opinion. But I think when I think about co-parenting, I think that for the most part, one of the big issues with the bit that you put out is that sometimes you have kids with individuals and you don't really have a sense of what their parenting style would be like, because you haven't had those conversations with that individual.
Exactly.
There's been like, you did all of the engagement, entanglements. You did all of that.
We're not
You don't know who it is.
You
don't know who that person is.
So you don't have a true
You don't know who that
idea
person
of
is.
like what their morals and their ethics or their beliefs like to raise a child.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I think that if you find yourself in a situation where I know that I don't want to be in a relationship with you, but we have now produced a child,
Right.
that your first foremost thought should always be what's in the best interest of the child. That's how the law works.
Yeah.
In fact. So even if you were in a committed relationship and then you got a divorce, the focus is going to be the best interest of the child. That's always what it's going to be.
Right.
And so that should be the mind state of the parents. So, and that means that we may not agree 100% on like what religious faction we want to raise a child in, or private school versus public school, or even if we want to raise our child vegan. We may not agree on those things, but what it takes is a lot of communication and discussion between us so that we ensure that we're trying to still raise a whole being.
Right.
A whole being who has both their mother and their fathers in their lives and has impact from being around both of them. And both parents need to understand how important it is to have each parent in the life.
Absolutely.
And be able to provide their, thoughts as it relates to how the child should be raised.
Exactly.
And
It's
so
a team. It's a team.
it is a team effort, even if you're not on, you still are on the same team, even if you're not in the same house.
Exactly.
Because
You know
you're
what I
team
mean?
child,
Yes,
whatever that
yes,
is.
exactly.
That means the
Exactly.
focus is primarily the
Yeah.
kid.
Right.
And it's not about self anymore.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's about the child, and it's about ensuring that that child grows up to be as whole as it possibly can be, and that happens through constant communication and compromise, just like anything,
Yeah.
communication and compromise.
Well, I'm gonna say, hurt people hurt people. You could be with somebody 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and then you have a child together and it doesn't work out. One person's bitter,
Yeah.
and hurt people, and hurt people, hurt people. The worst thing you can, it's two things that you can do to somebody to hurt them. Killing them don't hurt them because they dead. You hurting everybody else around them. But jail and they kid.
Yeah.
So it's two things. If you really want to hurt somebody, you go through their child or you get them locked up.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to children, I always say this: if you know just to cut out any type of questioning, go through the courts. Everything from the day that baby is born. If you know it's not that type of situation, or if you see the situation going somewhere where you're not comfortable, before it gets out of hand, go through the courts. Get everything in writing. Once it's in writing, because that co-parenting thing is great. It's great
Until someone messes up.
until someone is hurt.
Yeah.
The best thing to do for me, like I'm married, Daddy, I ain't gonna send you to court, Daddy. But
Right.
hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
All it takes is for someone to see you striving. Y'all could be doing good, but if the minute you striving, they're mad. Now all of a sudden you can't see the baby. Now they want more, or it's vice versa. Now the dad doesn't want to pick up the child, or you can't hear from him about it. Go cut it all out. It doesn't need, everything needs to be in writing. This is what's to be expected. This is what we need. This is what the child needs. This is because it's all about the best interest of the child, and the best interest for that child is to have it in writing.
But that makes
Ain't that right, lawyer?
But it just makes sense. Because
Put it
when you
in
don't
right.
have it like that.
Yeah.
It's like a teeter-totter.
Yeah.
You play with emotions. It's like a
And you
tug of
can't
war.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
One week is okay, the next week is not. Today
Yeah.
is fine. Yesterday it wasn't. I called you, you didn't answer.
You didn't answer.
Yeah.
You were supposed to pick him up. Now you can't get him.
Yeah.
You know, things
So the
like
real
that make
moral
it
of this
compli-
story
it
is
complicates
like,
it.
have a baby with somebody that you can be with.
Like, you might, that's what I said, it could be 5 years.
But
It
I'm
could be
saying
10
if
years.
you
It
meet
don't work
somebody
like
that you
that.
think you do,
Yeah, and then they turn out to be somebody else.
There's a lot of kids behind the
Totally
doors.
Right.
different, but you separate.
Yeah.
Couple and jive.
And let dad come with old bad. Let daddy come with a bad one, man. And baby mama got that baby weight. Oh, and daddy got a chick that's, you ain't seeing our child no more.
Yeah, well, it plays a big
Put it in
part.
writing.
But you know what? like that because one thing we have to keep denying is our ego.
Exactly.
Because our ego will bring us to a direction that we don't need to go into. So when it comes to raising children, our ego can't be a part of that.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
That
When
would
you
be
take
definitely
you out and
correct.
involve just the kid,
Right.
it would be so successful because
Yeah.
at that point your primarily focused direction is on the kid,
Yeah.
regardless.
And not
the well-being.
and also just to remember that children learn lessons directly and indirectly. So you are teaching your
Right,
child
exactly.
constantly. And so when you are saying these things or doing these things maliciously, children know, children
Of course,
see it.
of
And so
course.
you got to be careful
And
that
repeat it.
instead of proving that you're right,
And they can
you,
take on that energy.
yeah, instead of proving that you're right, do what's best for your child,
Exactly.
even if it feels like he is getting the best from you. But if your child is getting the best out of it, then choose your child.
Exactly.
They're right.
Is it hard? Absolutely. Is it impossible? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But it has to be something that you work on every day. My
Exactly.
parents did it. When I was born, my parents were not together. So I never saw my parents together. But the way they handled me, I never saw that struggle
Exactly.
and that tug. I never saw it. So if it did happen, I didn't see it. So they were
Exactly.
mature enough to say, hey, when it comes to ego, we're going to leave
Because
that on
they
the
took
side because
themselves
Tamara
out.
needs this and that.
Yeah, they took themselves out. I mean, was focused on
Yeah,
Tamara,
it's doable.
which makes sense.
Right. Yeah, it's doable.
So co-parenting equals best interest of the child.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Period.
Writing.
Exactly.
I know a lawyer.
Like the kids say.
Get
Put it in writing.
Yes.
I know a lawyer.
Yes.
I need one.
I can't.
Sign on the dotted line.
And she ain't pro bono, I found out.
Yes, she is not. She is not.
Exactly.
I found out the hard way.
Exactly.
Got a bill in the mail. Addressed to me. Whoa.
You got a bill. You got another one coming too.
No.
Exactly.
All right.
So our next topic, our next event is going to be loyalty. So when considering developing relationships, that's relationships that are in an infancy stage, how do you determine whether the person is a loyal individual and someone who is worth putting the effort into to continue to try to mature the relationship? Or is loyalty something that needs to be determined immediately, or is it something that comes with time? And this particular event is a little bit personal in a sense, only because we had a situation not too long ago.
I did not agree.
Within our group.
Time out.
Wait, no.
I did not agree
No.
with this.
What? Don't you agree to, Tia?
Whoa. Time out.
She's okay.
It's
She's
already
okay.
it's already here, so go ahead.
Go ahead. She's okay.
Mm-mm.
She's a little bit
We're not gonna do no personal.
Yeah, sometimes because
Mm-mm. This is not
it's
the
about
time.
yes to
It's too quick.
me it is.
This is
Because
consent.
yeah, I know. Thank you, Dorothy.
Go ahead. Okay.
Okay, this particular event is a little bit personal, and here in the ventilation room, we want to make sure that you know that we're being our authentic selves, and that we also, as women, mothers, wives, friends, aunts, everything, all the hats, as Dorothy has said earlier, that we have frustrations too, and even amongst our group, we may have frustrations. So one of the things that has recently happened in our in this particular group is that there was a question about whether or not we felt, or I particularly felt, one of my ventilators was a loyal individual because it's only because that there was an outside person outside of this group who had not been like someone who is very approachable or that we were able to engage with on a, just a very basic communicative level. As our relationship is developing, why she was still giving audience to this person. And I think she felt a little bit offended because she thought that we were saying that she wasn't a loyal individual. And the thing is that it was a real misunderstanding between you misunderstanding
Mhm.
because I never question your loyalty. Because anytime anything has ever happened, like my girl is always right there. She's like, no, this is what she's trying to say. Like, so I never ever question her loyalty because what they say is that anytime I'm talking, I'm using too many terms that people don't understand, so they need to break it down to people.
Yeah.
True.
And
Facts.
so don't do that to you.
Mainly. Like, it's not even just the wording, it's the vocalization. It's the I feel. And people immediately like,
People shut
Yeah.
down like, what?
Yeah, people
but
start
go ahead, because you know we stuck.
Yeah,
We
So
gotta get 2
I
minutes over 3
can't.
times.
So
Two minutes.
so no, okay. So my thing was is that I was just trying to relay to Tim, like our relationship, even though we get along so well and we have from the very beginning, we just had an instant chemistry that really worked, and which is why we were even able to bring this project forward. But we're still very new to each other. We're still trying to learn each other. But we know that at the end of the day, we have each other's backs. Like we are like, oh, you're not going to talk to her like that, or you're not going to engage with her like that.
Exactly.
Not in my presence. That's not what's happening. So
But we ain't even no fighters now.
Yeah.
We just,
no,
The
definitely not.
peacemakers.
Definitely not. It's like, no, we'll just throw Yashka in there and start throwing words at you.
Words,
The
okay.
whole situation. The whole situation is shut down.
Yeah. She has said what, when, where, how?
Yeah, yes. So like, we are very, comfortable with each other as a group, and like we feel like we can share different things with each other about anything. Actually, I think at this point in time, and so when I told him that, like, I feel like if you're going to be engaging with someone who is openly negative and has attacked all of us, it makes me feel like maybe I can't be as close to you as I would normally be, because I don't know how you're going to be engaging with that person.
Yes, she
Which
did.
she took a lot of offense to. And she was like, I don't like that. And I'm annoyed. Which is completely fine.
My actions said it. Not
Yeah,
my
so she
words.
stopped talking to us for like 2 days. And
I
knew it
needed
was
a
because-
break. I needed a break.
She wanted to get away from us, and I knew it was because of me. But I'm saying
don't
all
be
of
noticing.
I'm saying all of this to say
Thanks to you. I don't
I'm
remember.
saying all of this to say is that, like, I was thinking earlier today is that when we don't have expectations of people, we are so willing to give them so much space.
Yeah, space.
Like, for instance,
Joy Love.
don't do it.
You gotta
For instance, like, what we
Great story.
But she's still
So-
loyal.
Yes, but the thing is, what I really liked about it is that we were able to talk it. We were able to talk it out. We were able to talk it out,
Right,
and
bring it
like,
back full circle.
and we were able to give each other like the floor to talk
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah.
and express things to each other, and that's like how you develop real friendship, and that's
Yeah,
how
exactly.
you get to loyalty.
Right.
Exactly.
And so that was really the major point of it. It's like we communicated,
Yeah.
and like loyalty is just getting to the point where I truly trust this person, and I can talk to you about anything, and I understand that you're going to receive it, and that you'll be able to give back to me whatever you felt, and I'm not going to feel any kind of way about it because we're being open with each other and honest, and we're able to move on past whatever the issue was.
Yeah.
So.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard though, because you have to be vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to communicate and receive.
Right.
The receiving part is the hard part, because sometimes you feel like this is how it should be, this is how I work. But when you have new friendships, you have to understand that there are some
Your
needs.
expectations
Yeah,
might be a little
correct.
higher.
And the way we see things sometimes are very different.
Right.
But we gave each other, I think, space to say, no, this is how I feel, and this is what this meant to me when you said that. And so, she just realizing, okay, I don't see it that way, but I can understand maybe you seen it that way because this is how you believe it to be. And just validating my point, and I'm validating her feelings, which is important. new friendships are hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are.
New friendships are hard, and especially for me. I mean, we all have our circle of friends before this,
Exactly.
and we all have our ride or die day ones before this. And so when you have a new pack of ladies come to you, like I vibe with her, it's hard to kind of open up because you like I like her, but what's the deal with her?
Exactly.
You know, especially since we became so close so quickly,
Right.
which is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID-19, right?
COVID-19.
Which is
Yes, brought us
scary.
together.
Yeah, which is scary. But this is an example of how black women, first of all, can work together, talk, get along, can do anything together.
Sure can.
You know, and that goes against the stereotype of we can't work together.
Right.
That's a lie.
Exactly.
That's a
Because
Or
we
that's a
communicate. Or
Yeah,
communicate
that's a-
effectively.
yes,
And
that's
to
a
have
full
a-
blown lie.
And to have a disagreement and come right back together full circle.
Exactly.
Once you have the full understanding
Exactly.
Right.
of where each person was coming from, allowing
Exactly.
that party to speak, receive it, and understand it.
Right.
Because a lot of times we say things and it's just like, did she say? Did you? Oh, you might have interpreted it wrong. Oh, well, let me back up.
Mhm.
This is what I meant.
Mhm.
The key is communication. We're able to give each person a floor and allow them to have that, and also to get in your box and get in your feeling. We also bring it back up
Yeah.
and say, okay, come on out the shell. This
Right.
is what was meant. You know, let me apologize, or this is what I meant to say.
Right.
Not trying to hurt anyone in any way, form, or fashion, because we're friends.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, whether Yashika said a certain kind of way, Tia said a certain kind of way,
Wow.
Tamika
Cause
said
you know, I'm
a
putting a
certain
little
way,
spice on
and
it.
how you said a certain kind of way.
I'm
And I
putting a little
like that.
spice on it when I say
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And I like that you set our expectations of us higher than what we already have, because that means
I don't
you
like
value me as an individual.
That's
you
right.
see
No, that's
something
true.
more
Don't put that
out
on
of me
me.
than I do, and I appreciate that because you can get complacent.
Right.
And if you're driving to see that and you don't see it, hey, get to your grind. This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It's in you. You brought it out. Okay,
Absolutely.
cool. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
And we need that as black women, because a lot of black women are not encouraging towards other black women.
Right.
Right.
They hate to see us do well together. If they make it to a certain level, I've already made it. You follow your way and not bring you along and say,
But I
okay,
think
well,
that's
this is what
every
it is.
race. I don't honestly, and when I say every race, I'm saying so far as let's go get it. You know, you gotta have that same, because even like let's say if Tam makes it, right? It's not necessarily her duty to pull me along. It's her job to show me how to get it, and I have to go get it.
Exactly.
So it's not her duty to say, hey, you come up here with me. I would definitely appreciate that, but
You're
that's
trying
not
to
your
get the
job.
secretary
Your
to
job
But-
is
but
to
not
say,
to-
this
not
is
to
how
say
you
you have
can
to-
get it, because work ethic is built off of your work ethic.
Well, not to say you have to bring me along, but
Yeah.
you're leading a path where I can say, okay, this is the steps that I took to get to where I
Or
am.
not
And not
even
to say I'm
that-
withholding the information with,
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Or not even
You
that
know,
you have agreement
lay the
along, but
blueprint.
don't try to stop me or try to prevent me from
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's right.
Exactly.
We have enough of
We
that.
have enough
Like,
preventers.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, even if you're not gonna turn around and pull me, don't try to put a
Push
shield
me.
down so that I can't get through.
Right.
exactly,
And yeah, close the door on me,
exactly,
right.
exactly.
So-
And now you're afraid we're in competition with each other.
That's
Which
right.
is
Which I'm like,
totally
I always say that I'm in competition with no one but myself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's you and me.
But you know what? I think we think it's majority, but I think we have heard that, we have seen that,
Exactly.
So much, and that,
so
that
we believe that.
It's like
But
all the
where's
time.
the evidence?
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I have a lot of black women that support me, encourage me,
Right.
that are my friends, my family, like, and I
Me
know
too.
you do. So we have to stop saying that's what it is. Sometimes it's what they want us to believe.
Gotcha.
And
Right.
we sit there and believe it and run with it. I'm not gonna run with that because
Right.
this is an example right here. We have
But
a
we can
short
do it.
relationship.
I know.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, and I wish our friendship just started really.
Right.
So we are an
March.
example. Yeah. we're an
No. Last September.
What? No, we like.
I was saying,
example. She said she wasn't dealing with y'all.
No,
You was
we-
dealing with y'all. What?
Wait,
I said COVID.
She said April.
Your birthday was in January and I gave you a gift.
COVID.
She said
and we started this in November.
Look, she said it was April. Really.
a little long. It's gonna be read by.
Oh, God.
Really.
So it says, I don't know where to start. It's 11:26. I don't know where to start. You have friends who you have known for many years, 10, 15, 20 years. We all have different parenting styles, ways that we balance parenting and life. However, when it comes to parenting styles and difference of opinions about parenting, will it cost a friendship? How can you respond to different opinions in parenting styles respectfully and non-judgmental? I am open to opinion, tools, and tips in reference to parenting. However, it depends on the source. How can someone offer or suggest without sounding like they're being judgmental? The use of the term bad, wild, or overly active, and so I'm talking like you, and other people not qualified to do so, attempting to diagnose a child with ADHD or some form of behavioral issues or mental health issues. And if the child does have ADHD or behavioral issues, why is it a moment for others to chime in with judgment and opinions that aren't always helpful? How can we be a village without condemning, judging, or just plain being rude to one another and still be a part of a village? That was an excellent question. This is why. I have three. One of my children, one of my kids, very quiet, very docile, just very lovable, never mad, barely talks. Another one is pretty outgoing, laughs a lot, pretty smart, but got a smart mouth. The third one, cry all the time. Cry, but is literally a genius. Just, I'm talking about like has an overflow of learning. I'm saying that to say this, each child is different. Every child is different. One thing that we do a lot of is judging people's parenting styles. And everybody's child you can't raise the children the same because they have different personalities. So I can't treat my friends the same because they require different things of me. Same with kids. If your children are total polar opposites, you cannot treat them the same way as you would treat. You have to treat, and when I say different, I don't mean difference in love, I mean difference in behavior. Because one child may need more hugs, the other child may need more laughter, and then the other child may need you to sit down more and engage more in learning.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to giving out judgment, just remember, you have to be on the receiving end as well. So if you want to be able to tell someone about their child or about their parenting style, be prepared to get that same information back to you. Because what you may think you're doing right could be possibly that someone else looking at you like, why are you doing this as well? Exactly. So you may say, I don't want to be judgmental, but you have to be prepared to get the same information back to you that you're giving. The reason why I say that as well, it's all about delivery. Sometimes you can show people by simply actions. Like however you treat your children, you can just show them, go around with your children, show them how you treat them, invite them over to your home, show them how you do it, and then you may be surprised that they may critique you on your parenting skills before you critique them on theirs.
Yeah.
Because every child is different. What works for one child might not work for the other. Opinions are great, but be very mindful and careful that when you give them, you got to be in ready to receive them. Also, and I'll wrap it up with this one, everything is about intent. What is your intention? So even if a child is, like, even with my child I say that cries, people will probably look at him like he's ADHD because he's very, that one is very intelligent. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he is ADHD. Sometimes they put those stigmas on kids because they don't want to deal with their behavior wise. Exactly. Sometimes they just need extra help. And extra help could be smaller classrooms, could be going places. I saw something about kids who have ADHD, when they fly kites, that'll calm them down. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean they have ADHD, it's just people don't know how to deal with them, so they drug them.
Exactly.
So don't judge someone's parenting skill just simply off of the child's behavior. because children are different.
Exactly.
And everything is about intent. For me, it's about intent. If you're going there to be judgmental, if your intention is to be judgmental and not helpful, that's how it's going to come off. If your intention is out of love and care for that person, that's how it's going to come off. But also be mindful as well, if you don't have children, be easy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The worst thing someone who doesn't have kids can do is to try to correct someone who does have kids.
Yeah.
Because you think you know until you're in that situation. That's the same
Yes,
thing
yes.
with anything.
Exactly.
You know, that's anything. So,
But you have to go through it to be able to experience it, to know where that person is coming from.
I think that's unfair.
To add to that.
I think that's unfair to say. And I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean that, that's with any situation. People can be like, well, if you haven't experienced it, you don't know. Or they feel like you're being judgmental, or that because it's not firsthand knowledge for you, then you can't offer an opinion that I should take on.
no, you can offer an opinion. You just got to be easy. Like, you can't come in hot.
So, well, I think that, we don't know everyone's life path and what they've experienced, because there's people who may not have kids of their own, but maybe they had to raise their brothers and sisters. There's people that may not have kids of their own, and maybe they had to raise their
But
nieces
that's all.
and nephews.
But that's
all
a
the
parent.
time.
Then you're a parent.
But
You're a parent.
if I had to raise my brothers and sisters, I'm not thinking that I'm a parent. I'm still there.
But the
I'm
role-
still-
But we're looking at you
What
like
I'm
your
saying-
parents.
What
Like
I'm
your
saying is that, just because I don't give birth to a child doesn't mean I don't know how to parent a child. And I think it's unfair to be like, because you don't have your own child, or you haven't had a child, you don't really have the experience or the knowledge to provide an opinion to me. That's just going off of just the statement about, especially people who don't have children.
But you can get simple
But I think-
parenting
But
skills
that's a
from-
parent. If you've
but
ever
you get
raised
simple
anything or
parenting
anybody, that's
skills
parenting.
from daycare, where you're 5 and 6 and you're learning how to play with dolls. You're learning how to play in the kitchen. You're learning how to play with other kids. They're teaching you how to become a parent at some point by starting you out with a baby doll.
But I
Something
think,
that you grasp an attachment to and can go back and say, oh, I remember how I held my baby doll, same way you held your child.
yeah.
It's basically the same. I remember putting a bottle in her mouth. I remember putting a bottle in his or her mouth. So I believe growing up, that is already within us to be parents, whether you have kids or not. Because if you have siblings, you're hands-on as well, especially if you're the oldest kid in the family. You have always helped mom or dad get little brother, little sister ready before you got yourself ready. So I will say you don't physically have to have a kid in order to be
Yeah.
Be a parent.
or to
Yeah, you have
have
to
a valid
physically have one.
opinion, and it means the same because it's coming from the same place. Because if you have your kids, you'll be wanting to tell that person saying, hey, this is about rate I would take with my own kid if I physically had a kid.
Right.
So every opinion is valued.
Right, I definitely get what Tia was saying about, and I don't take it as her saying like birth kit, because I was a teacher for a long time and not a parent. And so when parents would come to me in parent conference meetings, they were like, well, you don't have your own children, but I'm asking you about this. What do you think about this? What do you think I should do about this? So my opinion was valued, even though I wasn't a parent, but I knew that this worked for that child, or this may
Exactly.
work for that child. But I was very careful about not criticizing them harshly, like you should do this, 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 and this.
Right.
I waited for the invitation and then, slid those good practices in there. But I do think that if we know better and we want better, we need to do better.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
just
different.
knowing and
Well,
doing, because sometimes people know and still don't do. You have to want it. And so I wanted my children to feel better. I didn't want them to feel like they were in this box.
Right.
And they can only come out when I let them out.
Yeah, and
You have an opinion, you have
Exactly.
ideas, you have passion. I
Children
want to hear
making
all
money
that.
now.
You
But
want
you
them to come
also
to you.
want to make sure you watch your tongue.
Yeah.
Like, so there
You
is
want
a
them to come to you.
combination.
Right.
You want them to come
yeah,
to
there's
you
a
because
combination.
elders, you couldn't come to me.
No.
Right.
But as of now, the young age, oh, I need you to come to me, and I want you
That's
to come
right.
to me because it's
It's
so,
so much
going
information and
on.
you're getting so many stimuli from so many places. And
Exactly.
I think like with everything evolves.
Exactly.
Parenting evolves.
Exactly.
Everything
It
evolves.
changes.
And you have to be prepared for that.
Absolutely.
It's like you can't have this archaic mindset of how you're supposed to do anything
Exactly.
That's right.
at all.
'Cause it's
like,
still not-
and it could have worked then, but
It's
today
not
is a
working
new
out.
day.
Too much
And
information.
yeah, there's too much information. There's too many things that are happening, and you're gonna have to be
You
able
have
to
to have a
evolve.
conversation.
Before
Yeah.
you wouldn't question, now you can question everything. You just look at the
Right, 'cause
phone.
now you
say
can see
so-and-so.
them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what was said
Yeah.
on Google.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
like information has flipped so many different ways.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
like this
It's like-
conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. If you read this again, I think none of this is in. How much
But it
time we
has,
got,
but
bro?
it has flipped.
Yeah.
Like
Zero.
seriously, it has flipped.
You
So
are
we're-
old.
We appreciate it, but it has
Well,
flipped.
we have to thank Tia for trying to keep us on track.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you, Tia.
We appreciate it. We
But
really
nobody got her
I
off.
know.
Cause I stayed within the.
Time frame
I
that she was
did.
supposed to speak.
Tia, you
But
were so good
we
tonight.
really hope that everything that we presented tonight was something that was helpful, that you were able to take something from it, hopefully apply it to your life. That's what we're here for. We're here to just talk through things and hopefully to give you insight into something and maybe give you a solution to an issue that has come up in your life. We hope that you will continue to join us. We will try to upload videos every 2 weeks. We want you to follow us. After you watch this video, please click like. Please follow us on our Facebook page.
And
Follow
share.
us. And share.
Yeah.
I
And
forget all
YouTube.
these- I forget all these young things to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And
So,
share.
but you can
Subscribe.
find us. Yes, you can find us on our Facebook page, The Ventilation Room. You can also find us on YouTube at The Ventilation Room. You can send us, if you want to submit an event, please do. You can leave your events on our Facebook page. You can leave your events on our YouTube channel. You can also email us at theventilationroom.br@gmail.com and leave your events there. Or you can instant message us on Facebook. So you have so many ways to submit your
Yes.
events. We are waiting to hear them, waiting to discuss them. So we hope that we hear from you soon. Thank you
Right.
for joining
Yes.
us.
Please
And
vent
we
to
will
us.
see you. Yes.
Vent
Yes.
to us.
Come into the
Vent
ventilation.
to us.
We are ready.